The question that's on everybody's mind right now: how do we defeat Hampter, the Squished Legend? Now, living in 2022, we've all seen some pretty horrible, messed up things, but very few of those things can compare to the terror that is Hampter. And you might be wondering, why is Hampter so terrifying? Well, there's a variety of reasons. Many will be immediately stricken by fear the moment you lay eyes on it. The dead, cold look in that Hampter's eyes could just paralyze anyone who even looks at it. Looking into the cold, dead stare of the Hampter is like staring face to face with Satan himself. The second most terrifying thing about Hampter comes from the second part of his name, the Squished Legend. And the legend has it that the Hampter can withstand pressures greater than that found at the bottom of the Marianas Trench, which is insane. Try as hard as you like, this thing cannot be crushed. So how will we be able to stop the world from being terrorized by such a monster? Well, let's dive into it. So we've already established that crushing a thing is not going to work. We're going to have to get a little more creative in how we take this demon down. The good old-fashioned Boot Stomp here is going to be futile, which is really unfortunate because that's one of my favorite attacks, but it's a little too blunt. So we're going to have to go with something sharp, perhaps. So even though a stomp might not work the best, we can always go with a slice, and we can just slice that sucker right in half. Well, maybe. A lesser known but very important factoid about Hampters of this caliber is the absolute iron skin they have underneath that fur. They might seem a little unassuming, but this is just impenetrable. No blade is able to pierce through this. And believe me, I've tried. And I know it makes sense to just go full Goofy Goober mode and start swinging on these things, but it's not going to work out. I'm sure you have a lot of questions. No Boot Stomp, no slice and dice. How are we going to take this thing down? Well, as indestructible as it may be, its offensive capabilities are lacking, and this allows us to get a little more creative with ways to take it down. So Hampter usually eats what, like lettuce, right? No calories there. You load this thing up on some fatty foods, man. I'm talking deep fry, French fries, you name it. We're going to see some results really quick. Before long, with this unusual diet, the Hampter's going to be experiencing some severe obesity, and it's not long after that we're going to see some heart failure. And if you can't Boot Stomp it, you can't slice it, you got to go from the inside out. You're inflating this thing like a balloon, and you're going to watch it burst. Now the second, maybe a little more consistent method I want to talk about is some sort of containment. Now we already talked about the offensive capabilities of the Hampter. We know it can't do that much damage to really anything. If we put it in some sort of container, it's probably going to stay there. So we've got the Hampter in a cage, but the main issue here is going to be this cold, dead stare. The main issue is going to be that cold, dead stare it's going to give off, which is going to terrorize anyone that even comes close to it. We can't have that. We need to isolate this thing. We need to get as far away from society as possible so it can't continue its reign of terror. And sure, we could encase it in concrete, or throw it into the ocean, or put it in a dark basement, locked away in a room somewhere where no one's going to find it. But the thing is this thing's basically immortal, alright? It will eventually find a way to chew out of a cage, like claw out of a concrete block. Who knows, you know? So I think the safest bet is going to be the balloon method. All you got to do is get one of those big weather balloons, tie it to the cage, and let it rip. Eventually that thing's going to make it out of the atmosphere, and I don't think it's coming back from the void of space. Unless the Hampter is able to go full Jimmy Neutron and use the balloon in the cage it's in to invent some sort of jetpack to rocket itself back to Earth, I think our problem's solved, and we're not going to have to worry about it anymore. And honestly, the more I think about it, the less I understand why NASA and Elon Musk are spending all this money on like rockets and all this fancy stuff when they should just be focusing on doing stuff like this and getting these little hell spawns out of the world. That's going to be all I explored today. Let me know how you'd get rid of Hampter, the Squished Legend, or why my ideas wouldn't work. As you can probably tell, I'm a brand new channel. If you made it this far into the video, drop a like and subscribe. It definitely helps me to know if people are going to like this kind of content. It'll motivate me to keep going and making more. And that's all I got for this video. We'll see you in the next one.